So today's video I want to show you how to make ceramic spoons, and I am new to making ceramic spoons, so I want to show you two different kinds that I like to make and what I do with them. I haven't fired any of them yet, so I think after I fire them I'll come back and show you as well. Stay tuned till the end where I show you the glazed fired version and how it all worked out. So these are all just bone dry here. These are leather hard. I want to keep them leather hard because I want to show you when they're leather hard a stage, or what you can do at that stage, and how to start. So you're going to take a little bit of clay and roll it between your fingers, and you're wanting to make a tapered coil, so fatter on one side and skinnier on the other side. And I do a lot of tapping to kind of condense the clay. So I'm just condensing it and then doing some more rolling, kind of putting more pressure down over here. And there's my basic shape. And then I want to smooth out all these wrinkles, because if I start with something smoother, it's going to be a lot easier. And I think that this is too long of a handle just for me, for my preference. So just kind of rounding the top here, and then I'm going to go to the next step. So the next step really is to form the spoon part, this here. So I'm going to take my finger, I think I'll go this way, my thumb. I'm going to gently start pressing against the cradle of my hand here. So I want the clay in the cradle of my hand and my thumb here, and I'm just kind of wiggling my thumb around and getting that started and moving it around to the other side. And I'm actually kind of stretching the clay. So what I notice when I do this is I always get these little cracks because the clay is kind of expanding and stressed out a little, but that's okay. So I'm pushing down against my hand to make this wider, but also a little larger, and the walls a little thinner. Somebody asked me, well, what are you going to do with these spoons? And these are not spoons that I'm going to be eating my cereal with. These are spoons I was thinking about for a gift for people. I would put them with some homemade hot chocolate, like a hot chocolate blend. And like some of them I've put little holes through so I could tie them around the nice hot chocolate container for a little gift. They could be decorative, so you could hang them on your wall. They could be to scoop out your coffee grounds. There's so many things that you could do with a ceramic spoon. Kind of use your imagination. So I've got the basic shape here, and I'm going to check to see if the rim or the lip here is even. And I have a big dip down right here. If you can see it there, you can see the big dip. So I'm just going to take one of my tools and shave a little bit down. Now, if I didn't want to do that, I could actually kind of push the clay from here and push it upwards and kind of bolster up that area, which I've been kind of trying to do, but it's getting a little thin. So instead, I'm just going to shave off just the slightest bit in the other areas to make it even. It doesn't have to be super even. It's just kind of whatever you like. I like them to look really rustic and handmade. So now that I've cut it off and it's all even, I'm going to actually go around and make sure that it's rounded and knock down that corner that I made and make sure it still looks organic and handmade. And any of these cracks here, I want to try and blend together just with my fingers before they get too dry. Now it's really thick right here, and remember, nothing can go in the kiln that's thicker than your thumb. That's definitely thicker than my thumb. So I'm going to start pinching downward. This will kind of elongate. It did leave some little surface cracks, so I'm just going to smooth those out. Okay, and then I also want to add a little hole here so I can make this one of my decorative spoons to give away. Maybe for, like I said, for that hot chocolate gift. So I could either go straight down or I could go side to side. I'm going to go side to side. So I just have my bamboo skewer. Push it right through. Okay, make the hole a little open more. I'm going to widen that hole. Fix all of this. And this is the time if you wanted to carve anything in it, make any decorative carvings, that'd be great. You could also take some letters and write like coffee or hot chocolate or these are definitely more than a teaspoon. They're more like a tablespoon when they're done, but they're not exact, so I wouldn't use them for baking. But I think what I'm just going to do is make some marks here. That's one way you can decorate. The other thing I wanted to show you is when it dries a little bit, when it's leather hard, or just starting to be leather hard, you can use one of these. What are these called? A peeler, and refine it. And that's what I did with this one here. You can kind of see how it's a little bit more angular and faceted in these areas here. And that's actually what I did with this one to get it really skinny right here. So if I want to take off a little bulk, especially right in here, I can just start using it like I'm peeling carrots or peeling potatoes. Right? And so it's giving me that nice curve. You can go a lot of peeling or a little bit of peeling. You kind of get carried away if you're not careful. So, and that's okay if that's how you want your spoon to look. Again, I want this one to be a little bit more organic, so wherever I have those tool marks, I'm going to go around with my finger. Even though it's leather hard, I can still use my finger to soften up those tool marks, round all those corners. And just that little bit made that shape really nice here right in the, I don't know if this is the neck of the spoon, probably. Okay, then I would fire them and we can decorate them. And I'll show you how to glaze them, right? So if you want glaze here, right, where it sits, you're going to have to think about a different way of firing them, because if I put glaze right there, it's sitting on the kiln shelf right there, it's going to fuse to the shelf. So there's a couple ways. If you have a bead rack, which I do, you can hang it from the bead rack, and so you can glaze pretty much up until there, all that. And you could even glaze up here, so long as the glaze didn't drip down into that hole. Another artist says that they build like a little holder for the spoon. So something kind of like this. And once it's fired, bisque fired, they kind of put it in there and rest it up like that. I've never tried that before, right? A little holder. But again, there wouldn't be able to be any glaze down here, but that's okay, right? You could also just glaze like the parts that would get wet, like in here and on the rim, and have the rest be unglazed. So lots of options. I wanted to show you now how to make this spoon. Okay, so the first part is you get a little bit of clay, you make a ball, and you're just making a tiny little pinch pot, kind of shallow dish. Okay, and blend all the edges. Don't forget the back side. I haven't used any water yet, but I'm about to in a little bit. Okay, then we are going to make a coil. So this part here is the coil. My clay is getting pretty dry here, so it might be a little difficult to make a coil. Okay, I got a nice coil here. You can see my spoon starting to come to life, and the first thing I want to do is blend out all these little wrinkles. Okay, and then I want to see how long I want to make it. The longer you make it, the more chance it has to break off. So we'll go right about there. I'm going to make sure this end is really nice. Kind of tap it here, blend it out. Okay, and I've seen people attach them different ways. This way, I just attached on the back. So I'll turn it over, and I'm going to slip and score this end to right up here. So I'm just going to attach firmly, push for a minute. I'm actually pushing my finger here. And I want to secure that, so a lot of times I put another tiny coil there. And sometimes I blend that coil out and sometimes I don't. Pushing it in. I'm going to blend this one at least downwards or upwards. That looks nice. Turn it over, fix it up over here. So I could blend this, I think I will, where this part of the spoon meets the handle. I'm going to blend that all in. When I'm at this point and I'm ready for it to dry, I think I'm not going to put a hole in this one. Sometimes right up under here, I don't want it to collapse. I want it to have a little bit of an arch. So either I will let it dry flat that way, which is a great option, or I can put a little bit of clay as a support, just kind of right up there, kind of wedge, getting a little wedge shape. I'm just putting it right there. I could even put one here if I wanted it to not droop down like that, but I'm going to just do it this way. Okay, so that is how I make the spoons. I might want to have a little decoration on this spoon too, so I might find some stamps or something like that. Let's see what I can find. So I have a pen cap here, marker cap, and I'm just going to make some circles and then overlap them. Like that. Okay, so that's how to make a ceramic spoon. Two different ways. So here are the finished product, and I'll say I had some successes and some failures. The successes were the ones that I put the hole through, and so I could hang them in the kiln. So I put a metal bar that I can hang in the kiln, and I hung them. And this one, I think I set in a little kiln stilt. But I had to make sure that the glaze was really far up here, and so all this is unglazed. This is another one that worked with the hole. This one didn't work so well. It's really beautiful the way the glaze worked, and I stuck it in some clay, some raw clay, like that, which seemed like a good idea, and I fired it. But I didn't realize that when I fired it and the raw clay shrunk, right? Everything shrinks about 12%. And so it shrunk so tightly around this that in order to get the spoon out, I had to break it off. And so that was a failure. So I think putting them in a little kiln, furniture with a wide amount of unglazed will work better, but the best thing that worked was the ones with the holes and hanging. So that's what we will do in my classroom, because look, I could get this whole one all glazed except for inside that hole. I love that. So I think these would be really nice as gifts. Not the broken one, but I hope you enjoyed the tutorial, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.